It was just a crazy experience. Once you get there, it's like we driving through woods. It was cold. It can look snowy. So we just sitting there, just like, dang, when we gonna get there? Then you drive through like a neighborhood, and then you're there right on Notre Dame campus, and just as you see the praying Jesus and everything like that. It's just amazing seeing that stuff.
Taken by Trent Guy. Trent Guy turns the corner. Guy breaks a tackle. Heads for the end zone. Touchdown. Good. Hard charging, and he stays on his feet. Bilal Powell. How about this effort? Unbelievable run by Powell.
We're on a collision course for the national championship. The only variable is time.
We are back for another edition of the From the Pink Seats podcast. Presley Meyer, your host with the most tonight. We have Jacob Lane on standby just in case. You never know. Like, you know, when you give the kids the keys to the car, sometimes they just run into a telephone pole. So hopefully that won't happen tonight. I'm just kidding. What's going on? Matt McGavick, Vince Lococo, how are you guys tonight?
I'm good, man. Yeah.
Good to see Vince for the second night in a row.
No, I'm so happy I get to see your beautiful face, Matt, and hear some Reds baseball side comments, and
Don't worry, they don't play until tomorrow night.
Yeah, I know.
Guys, we're not
I'm pumped for tonight
Reds
though,
baseball
just
on this
because.
podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I'm pumped for tonight though because we
get.
get Brandon Radcliff on the show, and he was one of the cooler teammates to be around. He was, it was his 4th or 5th year with the program, was my first year. And I mean, you want to talk about somebody that ran with some freaking power. Like, it was a pain in the ass to tackle him. Should be a good show. I mean, I'm excited for it. Matt, how do you feel about this one? You're the one that's always like, oh, this one was one of the best ones ever. This one was great.
It's going to be great to talk to him, because when you think about that era of Louisville football, I mean, he largely goes under the radar just because, Lamar Jackson kind of dominates the headlines, and in those early 2010s, obviously it's the Teddy Bridgewater teams and like all those defensive guys. And Brandon Radcliff, I don't think gets the recognition that he deserves. He was one of the more integral pieces to those offenses in the mid 2010s.
I mean, he averaged 5 yards a carry. So, I mean, I don't know what more you really want for a running back. That's pretty solid for me right there. Anytime I can turn around and hand the guy the ball, he's going to get 5 for me. Pretty consistent.
He's got to be one of the least talked about running backs as far as just across the board. I don't know if Oklahoma State's 10th most all-time rusher gets as little recognition as Brandon Radcliff. I don't know if that makes any sense, but 438 yards or 438 rushing attempts in his career, 2,365 career rushing yards, ranks him 10th all-time in Louisville history, 5.4 yards per carry, 26 total touchdowns on the ground, 1 through the air. Dude was electric for 4 years at Louisville, and can't wait to get into his career and what led up to his career at Louisville and what is still to come in his life. So without further ado, stay tuned. On the other side, Brandon Radcliff. Let's do this thing.
Brandon Radcliff here joining us tonight. One of my favorite teammates that I was around, Presley Meyer, Matt McGavick. Brandon, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. How you doing?
Everything's great over here. So first off, I'm going to ask you, how did you end up at Louisville?
Again, at first you got recruited by Charlie Strong and Coach Hurt. Those two guys, it was weird because the guy that really put me on was a coach that was at Miami Central down here, and he told Coach Hurt to come to Christopher Columbus, and we built a bond like that.
What was it that sold you on these guys? Everybody always talked about that Charlie Strong. What was it that Coach Hurt, the D coordinator, talking about the just the Florida connection? What was it that sold you on coming up to Louisville? Obviously seeing Teddy and those guys, but I mean, it's got to be something other than that.
It was really like those things. It was Teddy. Like, I played against Teddy like my junior and my senior year, and I just seen how great he was. I seen how great Teddy was. I seen how great the guys like Eli Rogers and Michael Lee. I knew those guys that was coming to Louisville. I knew they were special dudes, and I'm like, dang. And then like guys I did play with, like Gerard Holloman, me and him was like playing since we was like 8 years old. So like all those dudes, like I just felt like I was at home when I came to Louisville on a visit rather than anywhere else that I went around and went to.
At this point, we've had for this series, we've had a couple Coach Strong guys. Like we had a Loza on, we had Marcus Smith on, and there's a real, as people know by now, there's a really strong Florida connection with all of those. I mean, you're from Miami. Coach Strong got his start at Florida before going to Louisville. Like, how strong was the connection on just the team overall, just because of those ties to just the size of Florida?
Man, I remember that was like the emphasis when I first came. We had like freaking 30 plus guys on one team from Florida. And that team was just like the bond was crazy, like everybody just related to each other so easily rather than, a lot of teams are so spread out, and they bringing all these guys to try to merge and build a team. Like that culture's already there. Like 30 guys from Florida is just build a whole like camaraderie of a locker room. It's just easy to, merge that gap,
And the Florida boys are definitely the funniest ones on the team too. And like getting y'all to take that team picture every year, where they do it state by state. Y'all always had to go last. One, because y'all were the biggest group of dudes, and two, nobody could bring y'all all together at one point and get y'all to get shitting around.
Right. Nah, man, it's definitely some characters coming out of Florida, man. It's just fun.
You redshirted your freshman year, right? Most of us do. I mean, it's very common at collegiate level. 2014, you really exploded onto the scene and, getting your opportunity to do stuff for the team. What was that like for you, finally getting shots to go out there and play? I know you played some specs the year prior, I believe, or this year, as a matter of fact. So what was that kind of like?
It was good, man. Like just competing, like that was a tough year. I knew it was a lot of guys. Like I came in, just like low on the depth chart. I was probably like 4th or 5th. We had guys like Michael Dyer, Dominique Brown, just to name a few of those guys, LJ Scott. All those guys were good running backs, good athletic running backs. And, I was still a special team guy because Petrino came in, and I think I'm not sure. I think LJ Scott was the last guy that Strong recruited or that Petrino brought in. And so, it was just a great competition with those guys. And I started out with special teams, just working my way up. I felt like I had a good spring that year. I just showcased myself, but obviously it was a couple seniors. I just had to compete and wait for my turn, man. It was a great experience and just great getting the opportunity when it came.
And speaking of that 2014 season, one of your best games in a Louisville uniform happened to be during one of the biggest regular season games that decade on the road in South Bend against Notre Dame. We had a 136 and a touchdown that day. Yeah. What was that? What was game prep for that? Because obviously they all say like, treat all opponents the same. But when you go up to South Bend and take on the Golden Domers, that's got to mean a little more, right?
Yeah, man, it was amazing. Like going in and just like the whole experience. Because I think it was like one hotel they was saying like you could stay in like South Bend. There's no like hotels in South Bend, so we had to stay like 45 minutes out. And like,
God,
yeah, it was crazy. So we had like a 45-minute drive into South Bend. And it was just a crazy experience. Once you get there, it's like we driving through woods. It was cold. It looked snowy. So we just sitting there just like, dang, when we going to get there? Then you drive through like a neighborhood and then you're there right on Notre Dame campus. And just, as you see the praying Jesus and everything like that. It's just amazing seeing that stuff. And like when you walk into the stadium, it just looked ancient, like you about to go play against some ancient gods.
But I mean, that game right there, I mean, it damn near embodies what Coach P was all about, feeding the studs, I mean, just you were the guy that game where he was like, all right, we're gonna ride red the whole way home for 136 yards.
Right.
And I always remember leading up to that game. I went to high school with Reggie, so I knew him prior. I knew his pops prior to that, and his pops passed away 2 or 3 weeks leading into that game. Did that affect you guys at all at practice as well? Just being his teammates and stuff like that, being around.
Yeah, for sure. I remember. Just like when Reggie was like he disappeared for a couple of days. Nobody knew what was up.
Yeah.
We was practicing. I think Reggie was in a wave. We was competing with, I think, like Will Gardner and all these guys. I mean, they was all competing that year. It was just like something like, dang, man, Reggie, like they gave him the start and then this happened, this type of stuff. Like, man, we just got to help him, because we knew it was just a tough situation. Like nobody could imagine. It's just crazy. But yeah, that was definitely momentum and motivation for the whole team.
I remember watching that game. I don't know about you guys. I was at my buddy's house. It's how old you are. it's how old you were whenever I showed up to play college football. I was sitting there with my buddies on the couch. I don't even think we had like a sip of beer or anything yet. We were still young kids. Yeah, I know, man. I know y'all are some old.
Yeah, we some old heads now.
Y'all end up playing Georgia in that bowl game, man. I was at that game as well. Cold as shit. You want to talk about cold? I mean, that was
Carolina. I remember that. Yeah, it was cold.
But what was that experience like for you guys? I know that seemed like a pretty decent bowl trip. At least y'all got to ride in some cars and shit like that. But
we drove in because they have the Daytona, right? Is it a Daytona 500 out there?
I don't know.
No. We're in Charlotte. It was in Charlotte, so it was whichever one's in Charlotte.
I think the NASCAR headquarters is in Charlotte. I think.
Oh yeah, you're the Florida guy. You should know where the Daytona 500 is.
Yeah, the Daytona. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's from Miami though. He's just like it's up there somewhere.
It's up there somewhere. Yeah, I know we was driving NASCARs and
all them dudes from Florida are everywhere. It's so funny. They'll be like that tip like that touches the other states. Y'all are just like that's not Florida. That's not Florida.
All the way. I'm from down all the way at the bottom, so all that is up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that was a unique season though, 2014. So you're transitioning from, a kind of an odd season as it is because you had the one off year in the American Conference. You're one game away from probably playing in a very significant bowl game and going undefeated.
Right.
But then you come in, Bobby Petrino, there's still a lot of talent on that roster. And then you had, like you indicated, Will Gardner started some games, Reggie Bonfin started some games, Kyle Bolin came in and had that crazy game against Kentucky. And then you got Michael Dyer, LJ Scott in the backfield. So like Dominique Brown. So like you just had this tremendous pool of talent to choose from. Comparing that to maybe like the 2016 season, like how would you characterize those teams? Do you think, by 2016, Bobby's fingerprints were more on it, but you also had a Lamar Jackson offense. So you're kind of like letting him, kind of guide the ship as well. Can you kind of like compare and contrast what the difference in those seasons was like?
Those two teams are completely different. I mean, when Lamar got there, the offense totally changed. So I think it's not even no comparison. The whole offense changed. I mean, we went from pro style to lining up in the shot with Lamar. So we literally went from two different offenses, just catered around one special talent, and I think it was a pro for our offense. Obviously, you can see in the numbers. It was just way more explosive, way more dynamic, and spread the ball out. It's just, I don't think it's a comparison. It's just two different teams, honestly.
Man, that you talk about that pro style offense, and whenever I was getting recruited, I mean, Lamar was there, but you guys hadn't changed the entirety of the offense yet. So like I'd be going to visits and stuff with Reggie, basketball games. He's like, man, like, we'll bring you in, you'll do linebacker for a year, then you'll go to fullback, I'll throw you some dump passes in the end zone. He's got some sweet stuff. Talking about LA, that was in front of me, obviously getting to watch behind him and stuff. I'm like, this is gonna be sweet. Yeah, I get there and all we're running is this read option shit. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
never
it changed the full. That was the thing, because I remember, like you said, LA. That's like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
2014, he was my fullback, and we used to be in a lot. Like, he used to be utilized a lot in 2014, and then 2016, he was a great fullback. But like, yeah, that's just went out the door.
I've never been hit harder in my life, I swear to God, than meeting LA in the hole. I mean, yeah.
Hey, I love running behind LA, man.
Yeah, I bet you do. There's nothing.
He's a.
That's probably why you average 5.6 yards a carry. I mean,
yeah, for real. That was he was like, man, you don't understand. We have a guy like that. He was fast,
Yeah.
Get right behind him. It was just a different, but it's just different.
So L gets there in 15, right? And then, but take us through that UVA game. It was your career high in rushing. You had 146 yards on 21 carries. It's a pretty big day for sure. What were you seeing out there on the field? What was opening up for you? How good? When did you realize, oh, I'm gonna have one of these games?
With that was 2015?
Yeah, that was 15.
15. Oh, shoot. I don't know, man. I guess just getting the ball. I mean, for real, honestly, I don't know. 21 carries just sound good. I think I had that. It ain't that many times I got that. So I guess that's why the production was obviously just production meets, opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So obviously at 2015, that's the first year that Lamar comes into the picture, and he spent a lot of time like splitting reps with Kyle Bolin, and he starts really coming on the second half of the season. But at what point did you know actually that, like, okay, yeah, this guy, he's got the potential to be something special?
Was it spring? What? I'm trying to think. When do we be able to see like them like live for the first time?
We did mat drills in the summer. Lamar, I don't think.
Okay, it's probably, but with pads on. But we have, I'm guessing it's like fall camp.
Fall camp, yeah.
Fall camp. I remember Petrino said, "Let's go live with the quarterback." One play, and Lamar pulled that thing left, and he just Isaiah Stewart. I remember that jump like it ain't yesterday. Lamar game one now, boom, boom, and he flew, and I'm like, was that shit real? He got down that sideline. I'm like, what the fuck? I ain't know he was like that. He was that exclusive. That was like the first time I seen a quarterback do that. And I thought that shit was fake. I thought like Isaiah like just did like some jump, like, because Isaiah was trying to hit him, like he like leaned into him. I like shook his ass so crazy, like he just like flew past. I'm like, damn. I'm like, damn, he might even want to hit the quarterback or something. I ain't know that. That's the first time he really like took off running with somebody like trying to hit him.
Yeah.
Ooh, that boy got some moves. If that shit is real, boy, you're gonna be a problem.
Well, I mean, that shit turned out to be real in the Texas A&M game. Whenever you guys got matched up against them and Myles Garrett, who honestly could have just absolutely squashed any of us other goofballs on this podcast.
Yeah,
thank God we didn't have to deal with that. But
yeah,
what was that like lining up against him and that defense and those guys? I mean, they were an SEC team, and stuff didn't really start to get turned around, it seemed like, in that game until we put Lamar in, until L kind of took over. And you and I know, but I mean, the public doesn't.
I was anointing that game already. Like, remember, he had already came back against Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky was like his crown because it literally was like the last game of that year.
Well, he didn't know the plays either. That's like what a lot of people don't realize is he didn't know.
The thing was, they played two different systems. Lamar, like, because remember, Cal Bolin had a different, like, it was crazy for everybody. Like, Lamar came in, they was trying to already implement something different, like the read option.
Yep.
And Cal Bolin, if you only could practice one offense throughout that week. We was going with Cal Bolin every week. I think even that game you spoke of, the UV game, Cal Bowling was the starting quarterback. So we really didn't have that read option in our arsenal when Lamar's there. So he didn't really have any plays to even have. He's not going out there practicing in practice Cal Bowling plays because, like we said, the offense is totally different. Yeah. It's just I formation and shot. So people think it was like it wasn't that he didn't know the plays. For one, he wasn't able to practice it in practice because they ran two different systems. We're not practicing something that we didn't think he was going to be able to even get into, which was amazing if you think of it, because we was literally practicing something totally different. Our game plan against Kentucky, we went down like 21-0 and he came in and we just, he literally just went out there and beat him out for athleticism. It's crazy.
Yeah, so if you remember back to that season, you know, he comes in first play of the season against Auburn and throws a pick. Everybody remembers that play. And then immediately, I'm sure he got an earful on the sideline. But then by halftime, you're down 24-0. And then Lamar comes in, and like at that point, he's just doing what he does.
Exactly,
That's
same thing. That's the first game of the year to the last game he did.
Yeah, it was
that thing.
Very similar against Kentucky. Yeah, they come out, they throw a bomb the first play, and so it's 7-0. And then Kyle comes in, throws a pick six, like the fifth play maybe, and then you're down 14-0. Then we punt. UK gets the ball back, scores right away. So it's 21-0, and Bobby's just like, Lamar, let's go. And just and then the rest is history. But it that's, you know, Vince, I think he's probably right. Like, it was that UK game though that was like, all right, yeah, for real, like he's special, like really special. He had some great passing plays in that UK game too. Just like some like random, just like spur of the moment. Remember he had the big one, the James Quick down like right in front of the end zone. Yeah. So that, I mean, to me, the 2015 season kind of mirrors his rookie season in the NFL, where he was just like, you know, it takes a while to get that stuff under your belt, just like a job would or anything else in life, right? And so it's just when you're that talented though, like he just came in and just did his thing and it worked. So like to me, the 2015 season is almost more miraculous. Like y'all started 1-4 that season, finish 8-5 with back-to-back wins over SEC teams. Like that's a hell of a year for real.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even think it. Yeah, that was a crazy year. It was a great year though, man. Yeah,
so with those two back-to-back games to end the year against SEC games, against SEC opponents, how much did that kind of prepare you guys like for the start of the 2016 season? Because obviously the focal point is going to be Lamar because of, you know, this hyped up freshman. What can he do next year? But people tend to forget that like the thing is, like, people like to say is like, oh, it's just Lamar and a bunch of dudes, but those dudes were good, yourself included. So like how did that off season or like the end of that season like propel you guys into the off season?
Oh, that last game, like that just let everybody know, and like everybody's seeing how good Lamar was, honestly, just as a quarterback against the SEC team as in Texas A&M, that just gave us momentum into that year. Like, man, everybody got to step up, you know, like we got something. We come in next year and just come in, we could be something special. And that was like one of the main things I emphasized. I knew I was going to be a senior. And man, that jump was just like licking chops on our fingers. I already knew how special. I'm looking at this dude like, there ain't no way nobody messing with us. If we got to do like that, like, man, we can run through anybody. And it was just like true, you know?
It was like unlike any other team I've ever been a part of. I don't know. And even the 27, it was better than the 2017 team as well, because of guys like yourself and D'Lo and Keith, who were really the ones that held everything together. You know, like L was awesome and stuff. And, you know, we won a lot of games because of him, but we won a lot of games off the backs of our leadership as well, which people don't really recognize a lot just because of who L was and everything. And one of those games, I feel like, was the Florida State game. Yes, L had his great, phenomenal day, but leading up to it, that week of practice, how you guys as players got, you know, made an emphasis to the guys on scout team, made an emphasis to everybody on the team, like, this is the one right here. Like, we can all blow up off this one right here. So leading up to that Florida State game, how was the week of prep for you? And how did you enjoy it? Did you like that week? Because I remember we went live on that Tuesday because P got mad. Somebody had a fumble. We won't speak any names.
I had a couple.
But how was that week for you leading up to prep?
Oh man, it was hype.
We're already trying to air him out for fumbles.
He had one fumble in practice that made Pete really mad, and we had to go live. I
don't remember, but I'm sure it for sure happened.
I will never forget it. It was one of those big P moments that sticks out in my head. The Petrino moment that just sticks out. I can hear him right now. Like,
oh man,
the whistle. Fuck that shit. We're going fucking live. Restarting all the boards. Yeah, we turned. Yeah, y'all fuck y'all. Y'all torched us after that.
That week was hype, man. It was honestly, man. We approached every week. Like I think that's what made our team just great, man. We just came out there with great energy every week. And that week, we just like, we know we about to crush them. We just about to go out here and grind. It just felt good because, like, we already knew we had the spotlight. This is all we wanted, you know? Like, we just all we wanted. And we see all these, the game day guys coming to our practice. It just felt so good just seeing these dudes, like, they watching us. We knew he was the team, you know? It just gave our team just, like, so much juice. And like we knew he was good. So that was the thing. Like I think that's what helped us. Like all that stuff, just showing our team, like, look, y'all, we right here. Like, bro, they looking at us now. Like we came from Louisville. We went from a team that people don't really give respect to Louisville. It's our second in the ACC. And now we on game day. And these guys, all the game day crew that was there, they was coming to our practices. Obviously, we had like one of the most greatest players on our team, which contributed a lot of that stuff. But like, bro, you don't understand. It was like college game day. We about to get them everything they want.
Well, and I think people forget too, and I don't know if you guys knew this was coming. So you guys get the ball first, right? And Brandon, you get the ball in the first play. Was that scripted or is that just kind of a read that was made? Yeah. Because the first play from scrimmage, everybody's thinking Lamar, and then you get the ball and go for like 35, 40 yards, first play from scrimmage. Did we know that was coming or was that?
Yeah. With Petrino, if you know Petrino, he a planned out guy. Petrino planned 7 plays for sure. And we ran literally, if I'm not mistaken, we probably ran like 6 plays off. Like he give us a strip day before the game, first 7 plays, memorized all 7 of these, if you're coming in and out, whatever it is, and we literally ran our first like 5 plays and was in the end zone. It's like, oh yeah. Like most of the man, that year was just special because every year he was writing our strips out every game. And like the first 3-4 games, we were scoring like the first 3 plays on that strip. Whatever the strip, we ran those plays, we always stick to whatever those, he'll say a first down, second down, third down play, but like that's just how he wrote it out. He just wrote like 7 plays and we memorized those plays. So
yeah, I mean, as you know, Bobby was there previously before he took off for the NFL, and he became known for that. Like that was his staple. Was first 2-3 drives were going to be like he wanted to come out and punch you in the mouth. Like that was his strategy from the get go, even back to Conference USA to the Big East when they were back in those days. And playing like the West Virginias of the world. Who else was big in Conference USA? I don't know. It was a little different back then.
Was UM in there? Was UM playing? They know they play UM every year, right?
They played Miami a lot. But they played
Southern Miss was good back then.
Southern Miss was good, but back in the Big East days, they had South Florida, which was legit back in the day as well. So, but regardless, they'd come out and kind of punch you in the mouth, and it felt like that didn't happen his first 2 seasons in his second tenure. But then, you guys come out, you beat Charlotte like 3,000-0, and then you come out and pretty much score on 5 plays, 21 points against Syracuse. So like it was just like one of those, like the first 6 or 7 games of that season. NC State's one that people don't talk about too. NC State, y'all were up like 48-0 at halftime, I think. Like that was just a
dog South. We was chilling on the sideline. I got hurt that game too.
Yeah, I was about to say that was a big LJ Scott game if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think he had a good game.
You guys completely changed how I thought about the ACC for like the rest of my college career. Because like 16 and 17, like Lamar, you guys and Lamar at 16 and 17, just I mean, y'all ran rec shop on most of the teams in the ACC. So I mean, I'm sitting here 18, obviously 18 went 2 and 10. So I'm like, that's not really nothing. But 19 comes around, and I'm like, okay, I see the schedule. I'm like, I don't see a team we can't beat. I've already seen all them other dudes beat everybody, but at the same time, not the same caliber. We didn't have near as close to the same mindset as you guys, I thought at least. But my favorite game, not really a favorite, is that Clemson game in 2016, right? You knew we had to talk about it. You knew we had to bring it up. For you, man, what was that game like to start? I always hear people say that you can't, because I didn't get to travel. I was redshirting that game. I always heard that people say that you couldn't have like a normal conversation with somebody. It was so loud, and the atmosphere was like unlike anything they've ever been a part of.
Yeah. I knew it was like that for sure, though. Like the year before, it was crazy loud. Like my first year I went there, Petrino first year, that shit was so crazy. Like I can't remember. I think Will Gardner was the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, but who was talking, I couldn't hear nothing he said on the play. Like he was like, like those first plays was just like everybody just like, it's called Death Valley for a reason. It's so crazy. I never heard. I've never been in a place where I couldn't hear. Like that shit's give you anxiety if you like inside of there and like you could. It's just crazy. I'm like,
that's where Kobe's hand signals, his little side hand signals he used to do, would come in handy over there.
Everything came. We had to do a clap count. Like everything changed in that circumstance. Like literally, they gonna know we had to do 2 clap, like just to try to like hold them off a little bit. But that's their advantage for sure. Like, bro, yeah, the quarterback could be saying, you can't hear nothing. Literally, that's how loud they get.
God, you're right next to the quarterback.
Literally at the quarterback like this, leaning into the huddle, and literally nobody can hear him. It's literally like you're going deaf in there. Just that's all you hear. Like literally, people talk next to you when they get cranked up in there. It gets really loud. It's crazy.
Well, I've heard some allegations. You tell me if you think this is true. There's rules.
I think it's true. Yeah, I think they do it.
Like
yeah.
they're
he already knew what the question was. Yeah,
some kind of crowd noise or something. You just know how a general football game would go, right? Like people cheer the loudest when a good play happens, or like it's like 3rd or 4th down, you get loud on purpose. But like there's like those in between times when you have like a 10-second, 15-second breather getting a play call in, it seems like it just doesn't stop. It just like keeps going.
But I don't know. I'm not gonna make that. I don't know, because honestly, like how their crowd is, man, they feel like they own you, honestly, because it's really packed in there. It's really packed. So I don't know. It's really loud, and the foreign people make that noise, I know that shit could get loud.
Then what about this? Did they or did they not commit pass interference on Cole Hicatini?
On the last
the play right before James Quick's play.
Yeah, that was they was holding that man crazy.
Yeah,
that was, man. Yeah,
I know people remember that James Quick play the most because that was literally the last play, but the most egregious one was Cole getting held, and the ball is not even close to arriving there.
Yeah, I think he literally had to try to like catch it one hand type thing. They grabbed this man's whole body. Yeah, they wasn't not giving that in Death Valley, man.
And even the Quick play that Matt mentioned of like the yard marker being off, where Quick ran out of bounds. Like, yeah, Quick ran out of bounds, but if you go back and look at that play, the yard marker is marked wrong. It's like, how does all this little shit? I mean, you're not gonna get any ticky-tacky penalties, but how does a yard marker, for God's sake, get misplaced in one of the biggest college football games?
It was, and I didn't even see.
You haven't seen that? Oh my gosh! Yes. The yard marker is like what, Matt? Like probably a yard or 2 in front, right where Quick ran out of bounds, bro. Yeah.
Oh, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Watch that play again, or maybe not, because it'll make you mad.
Watch that jump. I'm like, man, that jump make me mad.
There's all kinds of conspiracy theories around that game, but I think a lot of it has to do with, you guys were like, considered probably one of the 5 best teams in the country, regardless of if you won or lost that game. Like I remember, listening to Kirk Herbstreit after that game. He's like, Louisville shouldn't hang their heads at all. Like they, just like played down to the last play with the team that ended up winning the national championship, right? So like it's, nothing to be ashamed of. But the rest of that season, I've talked to many players that were on that team. How do you think that game kind of affected the way that you guys played? Like, I know we talked about you came out against NC State, beat some ass there, but there were a lot of ups and downs for the rest of that season. Like, do you think that game played any role in that at all?
Nah, man, I think that game kept us hungry, like, I think it kept us hungry because we knew we still had a chance. We was like number 5, even though after that, like they still kept us in it. Like it was going to be in the Orange Bowl, whatever. Like we was almost having a playoff. We were still in the playoff berth. Like they was trying to get out. Like we was all listening to it every week.
I think we were 6.
Like,
yeah.
I think we got back to 5. When we got to Houston, we was 5. Like we need to beat Houston and just wait to somebody like play their cards, So we was hyped. We like, oh man, look, listen, we supposed to beat them. We knew we was better than them. We just like, we're gonna get Clemson again. So like I think that was a driving factor. It's just somewhere down the road, or just like, we just look past it, because it was tough. Like we had a review, our mirrors was set on just like staying in that playoff berth. Like I remember every week listening to these dudes because it was like fresh. They're doing the playoff things. Like the second year doing it, we like, dang, they talking about us good. Like I forget who the person was. But every week they was like looking at the 5th person, like Louisville could get back into this. So we like, hey, they really think we could be able to. I remember watching it every week with my wife at night, like, oh, playoff talk coming on at this time. Hopefully they put us back in it. And like that Houston game, I don't know. It just,
Yeah, and speaking of Houston, I know that's another game we don't want to really talk too much about, but we kind of have to. What was it about that team? And we know Ed Oliver, phenomenal player, like just a huge human being in the middle of the line, but obviously he plays a large factor. But what was it about that team that was so hard to move the ball against?
Man, I don't know. They just had our number that night. Honestly, like I think a lot of stuff just played a part, just like us coming out slow and them coming out fast, and then them just having motivation. They're seeing like, I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened to us, throughout that end of that season. I don't have any explanation. I thought we was playing hard, grinding, and it's just, I don't know. Like from Houston on, I don't know where we lost our grip, And obviously, it obviously just went down here after Houston. I honestly feel like once we knew we was out of the playoff berth, like, because we was right there, it's just like your hopes go up the sky high to like, man, we missed it. So like everything after that was just like nothing.
Man, you talk about us. You talk about us starting slow. Malik fumbled the opening kickoff, right? Kickoff return.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's not the tone setter. It's like tone setter you want for a football game, by any means. And Petrino was already pissed too because we elected to receive. Petrino was getting the ball first. And,
that shit was just weird, man. Just a weird day.
Well, we ended up dropping the last 3, unfortunately, to some pretty decent teams. I mean, that Kentucky team wasn't a bad team that year. They had Josh Allen and they had Benny Snell. Outside that, they weren't much. We got hosed on that fumble with Lamar on that one too. And we dropped to LSU, who also, they had Jamal Adams, Darius Geis. They had NFL dudes all over the field, just like we did as well. But throw all that stuff out of the window. What was that 2016 season like for you? And it was a special one. We had a freaking Heisman Trophy winner on the offense, and you played a key part in him winning a Heisman Trophy. People can bullshit and joke all they want. Like every time he pulled that ball, you still had to sell your run. Otherwise, the offense and the play doesn't work. So what was that year like for you?
It was a great year, man. Just like experiencing like 2 college game days, which is like rare to even get in college. That was a great experience. Winning one, and in the Clemson game, as we spoke of, was probably going to go down in history as one of the best college games, even though we came out on the losing side of things. It was just a great experience. All those things, Lamar winning Heisman, like all these things are just like historical things in college football history that nobody can never take away from us experiencing. And like, I'm so thankful and blessed to be able to just experience those things, helping my brother accomplish something that's nobody can ever take from him. It's just a great experience. That whole year was just great. That's my senior year. I finished off proposing to my wife.
Yeah.
It was just a great year. That year just means so much to me. It's just a staple in my life, man. I'm always remember a lot of stuff coming from that year.
How awesome was that, proposing to your wife your senior year? The picture perfect. You did it on senior night. Did you do it on senior night? Or did you
senior night?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Against Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Something just told me to do it then, and I'm thankful I did it then, just because, like I said, that was just a special year for me. And that was just icing on the cake.
We went nuts. I had no clue what the red shirts and all the freshmen. At least I didn't. I was like, what the fuck? Red proposed to his girl. This is crazy. Oh my god! Like, I don't even know how you play football game after that. But for you, and I want to hear. We've all got them. They've heard them all from me a million times. What's your best Lamar story as we get ready to transition into what you do now?
That story, hey.
Oh, you got one.
Well, probably one of the ones I just Stroud when I first seen him run the ball that first time when he did the shake move on Isaiah Stewart. It was just crazy. Well,
yeah, that's a good one.
Let me ask you this.
That's what I always think of. It was just funny.
We had a cool position coach in Colby Smith, right?
Oh yeah.
Colby was, not a lot of people know about Colby just because he was a position coach and an assistant coach.
Yeah.
He was the coolest, smoothest dude to ever be around as a coach, especially on a Petrino staff. So, like, for you, what was it like having Colby walk past you and be like, hey, Rad, I had to cuss you out right there because Petrino was watching me.
Yeah,
I know he said.
Yeah, hey, it's a bless. Me and Kobe still cool right now. He down here in Miami at the Dolphins. So man, we still locked in now. That's like family. He still be hitting me up. He be talking to me, hit me all the time, just joking. He hit me all the time because I always be working out and stuff in the morning. He be saying he could beat me. Like, I just talked to him like 2 weeks ago. Literally, like that's like my big brother. Honestly, me and Kobe been tight since day one. So that was like one of the biggest things I appreciated when Coach Petrino came, because like I didn't really have a relationship with Kenny Carter, which was strong, but I liked that coaching staff. Kenny Carter wasn't no problem, but when Kobe came, that was like the first time I had like a coach who was like a big brother. It was weird, He always it was more than just football with me and him, and it always been. I still call him coach sometimes. I call him Kobe.
That's how everybody. It was the first guy I've ever heard where people were, or first coach where people were addressing him by his first name.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, yeah, but he a great dude, man. Great dude, smart, great coach. That's what a lot of coaches should be.
So, man, I got to ask you. I'm seeing you post it on Twitter. I'm seeing you advertise it, and this is leading into where you are now. How did you get into the food industry?
Me and my god brother, which I grew up with, we just always cooked on the weekends. And last year around this time coming up, we was cooking wings at a tailgate. And I'm like, dang, we made some fire wings. I know how to make even better ones just because I be cooking at home, man. I just be cooking. I know how to cook. I'm like, I could make some. And then we finally decided to make some, and we invited people over to try them, and everybody just was raving over them. We like, man, we can make something of this, and that's what we're doing,
So is this your side business, or is this the main gig?
Nah, this side for sure. This side, but side turn into mains when it's over time. So we just started, we about 7 months, 6 months into it, like officially, like making them and, making them for people. So, slow grind, but yeah, we trying to do big things, man.
That's awesome.
Well, tell people where they can find your food. Like, are you working on a storefront? Like what's the situation right now?
That's the big picture. One day we'll have a storefront, however that develops. So right now, we just want to pick up on the like pop-up markets, because wings are usually like popping on the weekends. So like it's down here, it's a lot of like pop-up food markets that's popular. It's a lot of places catering and all that stuff in Miami is popular. So we don't really even need a storefront until we need a storefront. So right now we just I have an app, 305 Wings. If you got iPhone, just scroll down on your iPhone, type 305 Wings with a Z. They'll pop right up on your Apple store. You can order through there. We're in Miami, Florida, right in Coral Gables. We're developing into a kitchen, Hispanic kitchen in South Florida, El Palacio, which is very popular. We'll be in there. And we do right now, at our home right now, we just do caterings a lot. And I mean, we've been doing good with that, and doing just pop-ups from there.
What's your go-to? I'm like, Rad, make me some wings real quick. What kind of wings are you making me?
I got 4 special flavors you'll never find nowhere else. I make them myself.
Where was this when we were playing ball?
No,
you didn't make wings one time when we were playing ball, man. We could have.
Yeah, I mean, I barely really cook, man. I'm just like multi-talented. When I put my mind on something, I could do it, So I really started, out of college cooking. I'm not, I didn't take that much long. I just, like the
you got married and had to learn how to domesticate.
Exactly. And I think I got a good taste for food. I know how to cook and I know what I like to taste. And I think I know what people like to eat. And the wings, man, I haven't had a complaint with the people I sell them with. People love them when I get rebuys. So I think I'm trending in the right direction.
There you go.
What
are these sauces?
Yeah, what's your best seller? Like what's the number one?
I got 4 signature flavors. One of them called I-95. If you know, familiar with South Florida, Interstate 95 is popular down here. That's our barbecue. We have a buffalo, which is called Dade County Wets, which is Dade County, Miami. We have a signature flavor my wife made from scratch, which is called Secrets. It's on the sweet side. So mainly that's for the ladies, man. Like the ladies like the sweeter wings, They don't want to like the buffalo and the barbecue. If you bring your wife, I recommend you get some of those. And then I have like a lemon pepper, which is popular down here as
Classic.
Well. Our lemon pepper wing is better than the wing stop that
wet or dry.
We talking about.
Is it
they in between? They not wet and they not dry.
Okay. I like
just
that.
Perfect.
I mean,
that's exactly what it is. It's not.
Ranch or blue cheese? Which one are you going for?
I mean, I let you choose that. We
got but which one would you go if I have it out in front of you? Which one are you grabbing?
What would I dip first?
Yeah, it just is a big topic.
That's how I am.
When Jacob goes to edit this, he'll hear it, and I need you to say, "I'm a big blue cheese fan." Jacob, you're wrong.
And see, this is how I do it though. Like if it's wet, this is how I do it. If it's wet, I do the ranch. If it's dry, I do the blue cheese, just because like the texture and everything.
Okay.
I like that. I like that strategy. All right. So what constitutes a good wing though? Like what separates your wings? What's your point of differentiation from the wing competition?
The process, how we make them, how we prep them. I know nobody prep our wings like ours, and the flavors that I explain to you, I made them. So I know nobody tastes it. So that's going to be the differentiator right there. We make them different, and the flavor, nobody going to have the flavor I have because I make them straight in my kitchen. And that's what we develop into. We're going to develop some flavors. And I'm trying to do I want to plan like alumni game, bring a pop-up to Louisville, man.
That's what I was getting.
I was about to propose
question, Rad. How do we get you for a tailgate and some wings, man?
That's what we need. That's what we did. I need to plan it all out. Once I get everything all planned out, like it's too easy, man. I need to bring some alumni. You know, I need to want some, like, that's what I'm planning right now, like having alumni week, bring some alumni, some familiar faces, blend the alumni faces with some of the fan faces, you know, come out here, eat good music. We might situate how we could bring your B.O.B. or whatever it is. Just a good time, you know.
I'm
Good.
sure they'd set you up right over there in the alley, and they just open.
Hey, we got to figure it out some way, you know.
Yeah,
Some
okay,
way.
so here's my proposal for you. All right, 305 Wings Camp. All right, so you get some of these Miami guys up here because there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Some of the Miami guys up here. You know, like you could do a kids camp, you could do an adult camp. Like I know that's a big thing now. Where I mean, you look like you're ready to suit up right now, which is incredible because you're making wings all day. But no, and then you feed people the wings. Like that's the whole setup. You know, you have like a camp. It's like an overnight thing. You know, meet and greet with the players, that kind of stuff, and then do the wings as catering.
Ooh, that sounds good, man. The camp, that's pretty cool.
That's a weekend right there.
Like that thing, yeah.
There you go. People are gonna
the camp will have to be like in the summer though, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
I have to do that next summer for sure. I do want to do a camp, man, because I know Louisville. I know Parker just had a camp. I was informed, but the alumni camp would be pretty cool.
There you go. Yeah, we got a bunch of the local guys, but we need one of the Miami guys to get up here and have their own camp. I think that people would eat that up, metaphorically and literally. So
you're right. Let's do that.
Well,
that sounds good.
Tell the people where they can find you, man. One more time, real fast, with your app and where they can find you on social as well.
You can find me on social media at on Instagram. It's my name, Brandon Radcliff 23. Twitter, the same thing. My wing company is 305 Wings with the Z. Purchasing orders, download my app, 305 Wings. Yeah, buddy. That's what you can find me. That's what I'm doing, man. Grinding every day.
All right. Well, we won't keep you too much longer. I'm getting hungry talking about all this stuff. We'll get you out of here on that. Brandon, thank you so much for joining from the Pink Seats podcast.
Man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. You got so much love up here in Louisville. One of the more underrated, underappreciated players in recent history. So we're so glad to have you on, and good luck in the rest of your career and your wing endeavors. We can't wait till the store gets open so we can visit when we come down.
Yeah, for sure. I got y'all anytime, any day.
Let's do it. All right.
All right, yeah, man.
Let's